Hey guys, what's up? It's a Culture Detective here investigating your favorite albums. And today I'm going to be doing a mini albums review, but this time there will be a catch. And the catch is that all the albums I will be talking about today are bad. They're bad, awful, terrible albums. And there are so many bad albums released last month, and I just thought I want to group them all up and review them all together. Also, I don't want to listen to them all that much, so I'm not gonna give them full individual reviews and talk about every single song in depth or anything. So here we go, mini albums review. Bad albums. Let's go. The first album I'm going to be talking about is the new Fall Out Boy album, So Much for Stardust. This is the new Fall Out Boy album since their previous one released in 2018, Maniac, I believe, which in my mind still remains to be a terrible album. Now Fall Out Boy is back, and this time they go back to their roots, and instead of going for a more electronic mainstream sound, they go back to pop punk, pop rock, except all their charm and all their qualities just disappear. The songwriting is really trite, the vocals is just really bad and over dramatic, and it feels like the frontman has something stuck in his throat. There are a couple of tracks that I kind of like Hold Me Like a Grudge. I like the hand clap beats. I think the bass riff is kind of good, and the fiery chorus is really passionate, and I kind of like it. I also like the track The Kintsugi Kid 10 Years, which is a feel-good rock jam with catchy verses and choruses. The track runs really smooth, and I also like the lyrics about substance abuse and mental issues. But aside from these two tracks, the rest of the album is like eh. The album opener, Love Me from the Other Side, has the epic melodramatic production. The song overall isn't really that bad, but it just gets so freaking corny. And then the track Heaven, Iowa, the song is a total freaking mess. The synths and the other instrumentals and everything else clash into one another, and the chorus is so huge and epic, it could really pass as an Imagine Dragon song. And then we have So Good Right Now, which is this really upbeat and positive and cheery song. It's fucking gross. The track The Pink Seashell is a spoken word track featuring spoken word done by actor Ethan Hawke. And that's great and cool and all, but then his vocals are buried underneath so many layers of unnecessarily orchestral strings. The whole track just renders like a mess. And then we have Baby Annihilation, which features even more spoken word. But for some reason, this track is kind of drony and eerie, and it just sticks out from the rest of the track list like a sore thumb. What a Time to Be Alive is a pop soul track with some goofy, funky synths that are, again, very upbeat for no reason. And then the album ends off with the title track, which is not that bad, but overall the album is just very middle brow. It's a very tame effort that is also very over dramatic at the same time. I'm feeling a 4 out of 10 for this album. The second album I'm going to be talking about is the new Owl City album, Coco Moon. So I've never been a huge Owl City fan at all. I've listened to their song Firefly because that's such a huge freaking meme. But apparently there's their latest album, Coco Moon, and this is basically 55 minutes of lubby-dubby electropop. The whole album sounds like one never-ending Nokia ringtone. And if they released this album back in 2008, maybe this album would be like fine. It's like decent, but like releasing it in 2023 is so it's so yucky. The production is very sterile. The vocals are very stiff. From what it sounds like to me, Owl City sounds like a knockoff, watered down version of Everything Everything, the British band. Everything Everything does the same kind of lubby-dubby electronic kind of a pop rock music, but they do it well because they do it with so much charm and so much quirk. While Owl City's style is so bland, is so washed out, so watered down. It just lacks style. The track Kelly Time, with its swingy grooves and guitars. It just borders on being an AJR track. And then we have tracks like The Tornado, where the group just constantly jumps between bleepy bloopy music to epic orchestral strings. And then lyrically, the song is about has this story about how this main character and he saw his family being swept away by this tornado. But the main character, the narration is so Disney-esque. It sounds like a goofy little child's perspective, and it's really funny, honestly. The track Vitamin C, actually, it's not C as in the letter C, but it's like SEA, the ocean sea. And it does this stupid tropical island thing with steel drums. Like, are you kidding me? And then, of course, on the track Dinosaur Park, you get the cicada and the bird sounds because we're in a park, we're in a forest, oh my god. And then I'm fine with these sound effects, but then they're done on top of this really innocent, childish sounding anthem. It's like a Disney theme song. And the album ends off with My Muse, which is a simple piano ballad, which is great because I'm really desperate for a piano ballad at this point, but the verses are so derivative. I feel like I've listened to this little lick so many millions of times already. So yeah, this album is just a pretty frustrating one for me. I'm giving Owl City's Coco Moon a light 3 out of 10. Following that, we have the new Rae Sremmurd album, Shrem for Life. And as expected, with a bulk of the rap albums released in the last few years, this is another really bland album with a really boring performance and a lot of boring trap beats. This is a really boring album. And it's not the most boring album ever because from track to track, Sway Lee as well as Slimmy Jim, they try something different on every track. The beat is a little different. They try different flows and different styles, which I really appreciate. And I also like the track Royal Flush with its grimy horns. I think it's really well done. But still, the rest of the album is pretty bland, and also a lot of the things they try is just come off really corny and really derivative and dumb. Like the track Not So Bad, which has a drill beat with a big fat bass. The bass is so big and fat, it's actually distracting. And then we have Lean Got Cold. The lyrics are essentially about sadness, dealing with sadness. But to put that as the equivalent of your cup of lean getting cold, as if they're not supposed to be served cold in the first place. It's just like, are you serious? And then we have the track Sexy, where they try this 90s inspired hip house track, a bit of a throwback, bit of a nostalgia track. And the beat is so filled to the brim with cowbells and snares, it sounds like a total freaking mess. And then we have YMCA, which is a half singing, half rapping song with a cold, icy beat. The beat is mid as hell and the lyrics are really corny. And speaking of corny lyrics, we have the track ADHD Anthem, where the group does this overblown hyper trap type song. And the track is supposed to be about, mental issues. It's about, ADHD. It's about being emotionally overwhelmed. But the lyrics are written in such a shallow way. It's actually laughable. Especially with the repeated refrains, I feel too many emotions, I feel too many emotions, and also, I can't feel my heart beating, call the cardiologist. So, yeah, this album is, not great. 3 out of 10 as well. Strong 3, I guess. The fourth album I'm going to be talking about in this review is really the cherry on top, the cream of the crop. The worst album out of the 4 albums that I'm going to be talking about, and it is the new Waterparks album, Intellectual Property. Holy crap, I've never heard of this group before. I've never listened to this album before until a while ago, and oh my god, this is one of the most awful releases of the year so far. This album is grating, it sounds cliche, and it sounds like a Disney-flavored high school rock and roll album. And no matter how dark and edgy and profound and deep the lyrics are, the music on this album eternally sounds like it came out of a 2007 Disney movie. It's just so Disney. Why is it so freaking Disney? The track Real Super Dark does try very freaking hard to be real super dark, and the edgy lyrics are as edgy as a 13-year-old saying the F word for the first time. Like oh my god, I just said the F word. That's so edgy, right? And the jump as fuck drums, the distorted riffs, it's like a Muse song. And I don't mean it as a compliment. The track Funeral Grey is this happy-go-lucky, feel-good guitar song, and it's so gross and sweet and sugary. It's actually kind of funny. And the track Brainwashed is supposed to be a very serious track about religious abuse and being brainwashed, but then musically, it sounds like a song that AJR would make. And then the frontman of the band busts out with these triplet flows. Ba-na-na-na, ba-na-na-na, ba-na-na, ba-na-na, ba-na-na-na. Ugh. The track Two Best Friends features a main character of the track who is lovesick, but then he also has to hang out with his two best friends. Wow! Oh my God! What an insanely difficult predicament. I cannot imagine how difficult that must feel. That's crazy. This tongue-in-cheek lovey-dovey pop song with these cartoony sound effects is just ridiculous. The track Self-Sabotage has some okay verses, but then the choruses feature these squeamish vocals that sort of climb up the arpeggios, and it just sounds laughable. The track Ritual starts off with the intro, "What if I want to have sex before getting married? Well, then prepare to die." And then it just transitions into this speedy, aggressive rock jam. And then the track Fuck About It has an awful Black Bear feature, and the track Closer is this really melodramatic, corny guitar ballad. Well, at least it's not, at least it's better than that stupid Chainsmoker song. And the album ends off with A Night Out on Earth, which is the only remotely interesting track on the album, simply because the production is so messy, it almost sounds like something that 100 Gex would make. But overall, this album is so corny, it's so melodramatic, it tries too hard to be edgy, too hard to be deep. It's funny. It gives me a good laugh. I'm giving the new Waterparks album, Intellectual Properties, a light to decent 2 out of 10. So, have you listened to these albums? Comments below, let me know. Subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching. What am I even doing?